Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jean Boda, Executive Director with the Alberta Community Crime Prevention Association, commonly known as ACPA. In May of this year, we will be hosting our annual Crime Prevention Conference in Edmonton, Alberta. Dates May the 5th through the 7th. In anticipation of this exciting event, we're conducting a series of interviews with our conference presenters. And today I'm quite excited to be interviewing Mr. Guy Felicella. He is an international speaker and a highly regarded advocate for drug policy reform. On May the 7th, Guy will be hosting a presentation entitled Overcoming. We're delighted that you could join us today, Guy. So would you please tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, no, thanks, Gina. I'm so looking forward to being in Edmonton on May 6th and May 7th at the conference. My name is, Guy Felicella, and I'm a, former drug user, had to be brought back to life 6 times. And, I struggled immensely with, a lot of childhood trauma and undiagnosed learning disabilities at the time that weren't discovered until later. And really just fell into the wrong areas and the wrong crowds, and was involved as a young kid in gangs, and really changed the trajectory of my life. And drugs became a way of coping with a lot of the stuff that I wasn't able to deal with. And so eventually that just spiraled into addiction. And with which happens with that is that it becomes a revolving door of criminal incarceration, parole violations, in and out of the criminal justice system, struggling with homelessness and going in through the treatment industry multiple times, and just really trying to figure out how to navigate life. And, for the longest time, I'd struggled into the downtown east side of Vancouver, where I survived immense challenges for over 2.5 decades. And that was probably one of the hardest things to ever break free from. It's not like I wasn't ever trying to, it was just so hard to achieve. And so, I did manage to break free from that life and live the amazing life that I have today, which I'm almost, 12 years sober. I have a
Yeah.
family. I have an incredible career. I educate youth not to go down the same path that I once did. And so, that's really kind of a little intel into my story, and I'm very excited to share it with everybody.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That's powerful. That's a very powerful um, life journey, I guess you'd call it, right? And you've overcome some incredible challenges, which a lot of people, like you say, not in their wheelhouse at all. So, could you tell us how you're leveraging your experience with others?
Yeah, I really I gained a lot of wisdom. Painful life experiences has taught me a lot of wisdom. And, one thing I always say about lived experience is that you can't buy it, but it sure does cost a lot. And then it almost cost me my life. And so, I really just turned that struggle into, a positive by not only healing myself through trauma therapy and other avenues of healing and counseling, but now I have the ability to pay that forward so that others, in the hopes that others don't go down the same path that I once did, because it is not something you plan, and it's very, very hard to break free from.
Right. So you speak with a lot of school children, older, like 20-year-olds. Like, what about prisons? Do you go into prisons at all to speak as well?
Funny you just mentioned that. I was just in Newfoundland in the prison system
Oh,
there as well, and speaking to inmates, and it was very emotional there as well, as that because the relatability that I have with people inside.
yeah,
And it wasn't like, a toxic environment. It became an environment that we could just be honest with ourselves.
yeah,
And it really, even the people that are in prison are wanting a better life. It's just so hard to break free from. And so, you become a
yeah,
relatable person with other people's struggles. And so, high schools, universities, galas, conferences,
yeah,
I've been international. I've gone to, seen amazing communities, in every community that I go to. I don't care which one it is.
Yeah,
They're all beautiful in their own right, but they all have similar challenges that we're all facing. And this is not something that you just see in the downtown east side of Vancouver. It is in every community, in every workforce, and people are really struggling. And one of the things is that the stigma that we have in our society doesn't allow people to actually talk about what's going on because we feel so much shame. And so
yeah,
my
yeah.
story will inspire you to look at things differently.
Excellent. So I need to ask, how did you start giving sessions, lectures to people? Where you just ask once and then it just kind of snowballed from there?
Yeah, I mean, what was interesting is that for a long time people said I would never be able to do what I do. And I'm a driven individual. I put the same drive into my life in
Yeah,
positivity as I did in the negative part of my life. And so,
right.
yeah, I really, I did a talk in a probation setting once, and
Yeah,
my old probation officer said that, you have a gift. You should continue to share it. And
yeah,
I really thought about that. And obviously, you put your story out there and not
yeah,
hide your past mistakes. It can come with
yeah,
a lot of challenges from people to judge you for that past. But, I,
yeah,
I do it in the hopes that it inspires others and lets other people know that no matter how far you fall, you can
yeah.
always bounce back.
That's right, exactly. I have to recall the first time I saw you. It was Christmas, might have been Christmas Day. I'm sitting on my sitting on the couch, just scrolling through, and I saw your interview with Dr. Gabor Mate. And I remember thinking, oh, I really need to connect with this man. And then I Googled your name, your website came up, and I thought, well, I'm going to reach out. Yeah. And it's kind of funny how that was all snowballed, right? But it was just this instant, I have to connect with that man. Like he's got a story that we need to hear in Alberta. So yeah, it's not interesting. That is so interesting. So, with your presentation at the conference, you'll be sharing insights as to your personal experience, as you noted. But will you be sharing insights on issues such as treatment, among other things, as well with the delegates?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm not going to give too much away, but I will tell
No.
you this, that I'm a
Yeah.
supporter of all the tools, which is both harm reduction to
Yeah.
keep people alive, and also recovery services. As we all know, addiction is a chronic relapsing condition, and it takes multiple attempts for people to, figure their
Yeah.
pathway out. And that's why we also have to include a harm reduction safety net underneath that, so that when people do relapse, that they have a service to go to. And the opposite of addiction is connection, and harm
Yeah.
reduction and recovery both provide the same thing, connection.
Yeah. Exactly. And I like how you've talked in past about the trauma. And here again, we don't have to give a lot of things away, but I really feel that is important with a lot of people when you look at the trauma they've experienced in their past life, or not past life, but in their younger life. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, trauma is one of those things that, well, the one interesting thing that I've discovered with trauma is that I was denying that it existed for so long. And then I thought I wasn't dealing with it, but what I found out later on is I was actually dealing with it negatively. So
yeah,
you deal with it either way. You either heal from it or you suffer from it. And one of the things that I've encountered in my life is that, you are not responsible for the trauma that you endured as a person, but however, you have to make sure that you're responsible for not passing that trauma on to others. And I've worked tremendously hard on going to trauma therapy and counseling, and it's very important that we include that in the spectrum of care as well, is because if you don't treat the underlying issues,
yeah.
then you're not going to treat the addiction or the mental health issues.
That's right. That's right. It's a big circle. Yeah, it is. So, you've helped a lot of people over the years. Could you share a story of someone that's inspired you?
Well, I have a lot of inspiration from a lot of people, but I really get my inspiration from seeing other people get up and try.
Yeah,
They don't even have to be successful. I just admire the human will inside of people. And so I get inspired daily from people who could be homeless, could be using drugs, could be in recovery. I really look to us as just people that are have the ability to inspire each other. And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm really just it's really that simple for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Take it day to day. That's for sure. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you this afternoon and giving us a little bit of some insight, some snippets as to what you're looking to talk to us about. And I'm really looking forward to your presentation at the conference. Actually, I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person and, like you say, just having a meeting. And I would like to introduce you to a lot of people as well. So if our viewers are interested in any of the conference presenters, please visit our website, www.albertacrimeprevention.com. And with that, I'll bid you a good day. We have warm weather in Alberta, so we're going to get out and enjoy the sunshine. And I want to thank you again, Guy, for your time. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.